I think most of us look at our lives and think they're going to be directed by the big splashy moments that happen. You know, the degree that we get in college, the job we get, the promotion, the big move. My story? It was really directed by a canceled interview, baggage claim, and an old neighbor I used to babysit for. Now, let's be honest. Nobody puts baggage claim on a 5-year plan. Let's jump in. Imagine I'm graduating from college, which I was, and I was interviewing, I was getting ready to interview. I was graduating as majoring in computer science and math. Yes, which does mean that I was totally literate in computer code and calculus. And I was not fluent at all in dating. But I was ready to take on the world, or at least IBM. IBM was my dream. It was my dream job, my dream company. And my senior year of college, when I was interviewing, it wasn't just a name in technology. It was the name in technology. I was so nervous. I landed an on-campus interview. And I remember walking in there. I really wanted that job. This was like my #1 company. I walked in there, my heart was pounding out of my chest. My hands were so clammy. And I really don't remember the details of the conversation, but I remember how I felt in the conversation. It was comfortable. It was like a fit, like a hand-in-glove fit. And I walked out of that interview. I was already invited to interview in person up at their Charlotte location. I was on cloud 9, ecstatic. I even envisioned myself in my IBM job out of Charlotte, complete with signature navy blue blazer. I was ready. And then, just like that, IBM announced a hiring freeze. No interview in Charlotte, no job offer, no signature blue blazer. I was devastated. But my parents had taught me, I had a silver lining. Maybe your parents said the same thing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Exactly. So I had another interview with Texas Instruments. But I'll be honest, my heart was not in it. Second choice. And when I found out that the job involved programming pay at the pump systems for gas stations, I thought, wow, I've hit the big time. The glamorous world of receipts and gasoline. I was ready to go. But I needed a job, and I flew to Dallas for that interview. Little did I know that that routine, ordinary trip to Dallas was going to flip my life story upside down. In baggage claim, I saw these two really cute guys, and turns out they were interviewing like I was. I was really, I couldn't believe it when the cute one walked up to me and introduced himself. It turns out he had already interviewed with Texas Instruments, and he recognized my branded interview envelope. I thought that kind of stuff only happened in Hallmark movies. Here I was. After a short conversation, they invited me out for a drink, and I was really tempted. But once I got to my hotel, and I realized their hotel was an hour away, it was already late, I had an 8 a.m. interview, I called and left a message. Yeah, for the cute one, that I wasn't going to make it, but that I'd be up at 6. Hey, when you're single and 22, you got to leave your options open, right? The next morning, I showered early so my hair could be drying in case he called. And he did. We had a conversation like we'd known each other all of our lives. I was almost late for my interview, but the story doesn't end there. I did get that offer from Texas Instruments, but I could not shake the thought that I'd be programming gasoline pumps. I couldn't shake it. And my parents, ever wise, reminded me of an old neighbor that I used to babysit for. My dad said, "I think you started some kind of software company." Okay, but we had moved from that neighborhood after my 9th grade year in high school. I didn't even know if he'd remember me. A few phone calls later, I had an interview. After the interview, I got the job offer in a much more interesting industry, hospital information systems. And I was still disappointed about Big Blue, IBM, and No Blue Blazer, but this was a great job. So I moved on. However, that's not the end of the story. There's more. That guy that I met in the Dallas airport, that quick encounter in Dallas was the beginning of a love story that I couldn't have made up. I couldn't have planned it. Less than a year later, we were engaged. And next month, we celebrate 41 years married. Woo! He's actually right over there if you want that autograph. But I couldn't have planned that. So you never know exactly what is going to happen. What's the takeaway? What's the takeaway? The takeaway is the realization that the smallest moments are sometimes the ones that make the biggest difference. Don't discount that moment that might mean everything to you. You know, if IBM hadn't closed that door, I never would have walked through Delta's doors in Dallas and met my future husband. And if my parents had reminded me about the neighbor I used to babysit for, I wouldn't have made the call. That landed my real career, started my real career. You never know where it's going to go. And so you need to just be aware. The next time you're facing a closed door, take a step back. Be aware. Be open. Because that next small moment might be the one that makes all the difference for you. Thank you.